Hi everyone. What I decided to do for my action plan is closing the gap. And more specifically, I'm basing this around the achievement gap, and this goes with a lot of different pieces that I'm really interested in, something that my school is really focused in on, and it leads to a lot of questions, more specifically things that are really gauged in this course, such as cultural awareness, multicultural ed, and do I even have a say? Can anything be done in regards to the achievement gap, or is there real effects, or is it just something that we have no control over and there's nothing we can do about it? So that's what my action plan is based around, and I want to get into the introduction here. In regards to my intro, I really talked about how society is very diversified. There's all sorts of different types of households. The divorce rate is off the charts. Single parenthood is a big thing. Financial status can sometimes be a problem, and sometimes there's just cultural differences that we aren't even aware of. There's things that go on in other cultures that we don't have any background in. It's very hard to help someone when we don't have the background in order to even know where they come from. So that is something that is very prominent, I think, in the education world today. And the data is very telling. There's definitely a very clear gap, and there's a very clear achievement gap, especially in relation to racial differences and low income. So specifically African American students versus Caucasian students, and then also low income students versus non-low income students. And how do we get those kids to no longer have that gap in comparison to their achievement, especially when we have the same everything, right? We have the same teacher and curriculum and classroom and climate in regards to the classroom, and it just doesn't make any sense, right? What needs to change if all these things are happening that is the same? Where does suddenly the student really struggle? And I think the answer is that we as teachers need to change, but what now? If we say that we need to change, what exactly can I do for my students in my classroom specifically to help them reach their fullest potential no matter where they come from? So here's my plan. I want to know more than just their name, and it sounds really simple, but it's actually a lot harder said than done, especially when you have all sorts of different students and you only see them at some points in the day. We switch for math and for reading. I know you middle school and high school teachers, you have hundreds of students sometimes, and it's very difficult to know more than just their name, but it's very important. You got to know where they come from and what their likes and dislikes are and what they struggle with and who they really are and who they want to be. And I'm going to do this using peace circles. That is given a lot of different names, but really all that it is it's research based, and it says that students that are socially and emotionally cared for are going to be more successful and more engaged in the classroom because they feel respected, they feel confident, and they feel ready to learn, rather than a student who's going through all these struggles and feels alone. And then questionnaires of just what they like, dislike, and how they feel how the year is going even. So with that said, it means that I'm going to have to teach more than math in the math classroom, and I think that's really important for us to realize that sometimes it's not just about the content. We have to focus on other pieces in order to have our students be successful. And then in regards to all sorts of different types of learners, we talked a lot about this. Differentiation is a huge thing, especially when you have all sorts of different types of students. I mean, we have students that have anxiety and ELL learners and visual thinkers and struggling writers and poor test takers, auditory learners, and the list goes on, and sometimes we don't even know what's going on because it hasn't even been discovered yet. And I want to kind of eliminate that list and focus on something that I can do, which is an alternative. I want to give students an alternative to the types of assessments that I'm giving. So my goal is to have at least one alternative for every larger assessment that I give, whether it's a performance-based assessment or a song or rap or digital presentation like this PowerPoint, a recording that is given to student ahead of time that has the questions on it, or something that will give a student a little bit more of a step stool, if you will. Because all that I can say is it's not so much about equality anymore. It's really about giving the student the tools that they need to be successful regardless of where they come from or where they're currently at. And that's what it's all about. So, in regards to data is, all of our favorite things after all. I want to make sure that I analyze the data fully from this winter scores in regards to their grades and their current MAP scores, which is by NWEA. Some of you guys use other nationally normed tests. You can do the same thing with any type of testing that you give. I want to focus on the winter in comparison to the spring scores, and obviously the hope is to lower the achievement gap within the students' racial groups, and then also my low-income students in comparison to the normal, in quotes, students. And then obviously I want to share this. I want to share this with other teachers and staff. Part of our SIP plan, our school improvement plan, is based around the achievement gap at my school and at our district. So I want to share this with my third grade team. I want to share this with my principal. The results hopefully are positive, and then that would then lead to sharing it with all of the staff. And the idea is, if I can share what I changed, and if I didn't change anything else and I saw positive results, then we can talk about what we can change as a school or as a district in regards to helping all students succeed regardless of where they come from. If it's just those two little pieces that I changed and suddenly they are being more successful and no longer have as big of a gap, it's something definitely worth looking into. And in regards to my future study, if this proves to be successful, then I would talk about refining and enhancing the tools that I'm already using and sharing those ideas and focusing even more on closing the gap with all different grade levels. And is there certain grade levels that this is more beneficial on than others, and what can we do with those others? There's just so many things that you can do. If this seems to be unsuccessful though, then I would kind of go back to the drawing board and look at other avenues such as parental support, homework, sleep, and other factors that I haven't yet looked into yet that could all be a part of this achievement gap that we need to fix. So that's pretty much all that I have. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to comment below.